Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose, we have an important topic that we must discuss with you. You used to spend a lot of time in Bristol. You were on a lot of different shows there, and you had a lot of different clothing that you wore on the air. You had lockers,
numbers never lie.
You kept a lot of jackets and ties and button-ups and things like that. And as what happens, you shift working environments from Bristol to Los Angeles to New York, all over the place.
Sports Center, Mike and Mike.
And when you move like that, you lose items, right? And that happens naturally. You know, things go missing. Not everything comes with you. Every time I've moved, I've lost some things. So you are sitting at your house on October 14th at 8:18 in the morning. I want to make sure I have all the specifics. What happened on that faithful morning?
So I'm eating my boiled eggs with a little mayo, a little salt, and a little pepper. I'm watching the Worldwide Leader. I had a remote in my hand. I'm feeling good about myself.
Okay.
Off day.
Okay.
And I see one of the best reporters and television personalities in the industry on TV.
I was on TV?
His name is Tim Kurkjian.
Oh, Tim Kurkjian was on TV. And wait.
And I'm like, his information is amazing. Then I'm like, his tie is even better. As a matter of fact, that's my tie.
So you're saying that Tim Kurkjian wore your tie on national television. Can't it just be that he bought the same tie that you bought?
When I was in Bristol, I had a cubicle that had multiple suits, multiple ties, multiple shirts, multiple items. When I went to Los Angeles, they shipped me some of the items. I didn't get all of them.
Can't he just buy the same tie that you bought?
It was a custom-made tie.
It was a custom-made tie. So there's only one of these ties in the world, and you're saying that Tim Kurkjian wore that tie. So if there's only one of these ties in the world, you're essentially accusing Tim Kurkjian of being a tie thief. Do you know who we have on the show?
No, y'all didn't.
Tim Kurkjian, ladies and gentlemen.
No, y'all didn't.
That is Tim Kurkjian right there. Thank you so much for doing the show. Tim Kurkjian, I know that you have heard these accusations. You've been called a tie thief on national television.
Oh, no.
Tim, how do you respond to these accusations?
Well, this is like the dumbest thing I've ever been a part of.
Thank you.
First off, Jalen and I have nothing in common when it comes to being cool. He's like the coolest guy ever. I'm like the least cool guy ever. I'm pretty sure we don't shop at the same store. This is the tie in question. I know where I got this. I got this where I get all my stuff at Nordstrom for kids. So I don't think that Jalen and I didn't steal Jalen's tie, and I certainly wouldn't go to the cubicle of a guy who's 6'8", basically 2 feet taller than me to steal a tie. I would need somebody shorter.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is you shop at Nordstrom for kids, and that's where you bought that tie. It is not a tie that you just happened to find around the Bristol campus. Jalen Rose, he's saying that he bought that tie. How do you respond, sir?
After further evidence, I'm now looking closer at the tie.
Can we see the tie in question, please, Mr. Kurkjian?
And I now realize, like I had blue in my tie a little bit, and that one does not.
So that's not even the tie?
That's not the tie.
What?
That's not the tie.
You've been acquitted of all charges, Mr. Kurkjian. We've been acquitted of all charges.
There is some blue in here, but I repeat, I bought this tie. And Jalen and I would never wear the same outfit, ever.
Tim is a fashionable man.
We've been working on this segment for a month now. We've been working on this for a month now, just to find out that, Jalen, we bring Tim on the show. He's like, well, guess what? That's not the tie.
I didn't know y'all was going to bring him on the show.
You called the man a thief on national television twice. Twice you called him a thief. And now we've come and find out that you're taking it all back. There must be some punishment for that in the future. But, Tim, while we have you, speaking of the Hobbits, let's talk about LeBron James. Tim, LeBron James, after the Lakers' rough start, outwardly kept a very positive demeanor. He was very encouraging of the young people and, saying that things will work out in time. It's just a slow start. Well, he told Chris Haynes that it was actually kind of the opposite. He said, quote, I almost cracked. I had to sit back and remind myself, bleep, you knew what you were getting yourself into. Tim Kirchin, what do you think about LeBron James admitting that he almost cracked during the failures early in the season?
It sounds like an overstatement to me. Although, we all know this, basketball is a beautiful game, and it takes sometimes a really long time for the people on the team to figure out how all the pieces work. Who likes the ball where, who doesn't like the ball where. And I think it hurts in a way that LeBron is so good. He's like the best player at every position on their team. He's their best point guard and their best five. He's everything in between. Playing with him isn't that easy because he's so freaking good. So I think, yes, he probably had some issues, but I think those issues go away pretty quickly when he grabs the ball at one end, goes the length of the floor faster than any 6'8", 265 man has ever gone in any sport ever, and slam dunks on the other end. I think the cracking goes away after one of those races down the court.
I think that's a good point. Jalen, do you think LeBron James almost cracked, or do you think he's just after the fact making it sound a little more dramatic than it was?
I think what both of you said, Tim used overstatement. You used basically being really dramatic. I think this was the cry that he was using behind closed doors for them to get another big body. When I'm watching basketball games earlier in the year, he was down there guarding centers. And that's not a recipe for longevity or success with the Los Angeles Lakers. Now you add Tyson Chandler, you feel a lot better about your team and its prospects.
Well, here's one thing that is just obvious about this Lakers team is they're not going to challenge the Warriors, and I don't know who is, but the Warriors have a very interesting new marketing strategy. I love this idea. So if you pay the Warriors $100, you can go to every Warriors game for an entire month. I said it again, $100, you get a monthly pass to go to every Warriors game. However, you do not get a seat to the game. You can't even go into the bowl area to see the game live. You just kind of hang out and drink at the bars and watch the games on TV. Tim Kirchin, would you do this were you in the Bay Area?
No, I wouldn't. To me, that would be the definition of torture. That team is so much fun to watch. In the offseason, I could watch them night and day. The ball movement that they have on that team is absolutely beautiful. They had a sequence in the finals last year where all five guys touched the ball on one possession. The fifth guy had a great shot. He passed it to four who had a better, three who had a better, two who had a better, and then one had the best shot. It was the most beautiful basketball you could possibly imagine in this day and age. And to go into that arena and not get to watch Steph Curry shoot it, not get to watch Klay Thompson come off a screen and shoot it, and not watch Kevin Durant at that height shake somebody from 25 feet away and shoot it in his face. If I can't see that, then I don't want to go to the arena.
So here's what Oracle and the Warriors are missing with this one, is they're making life really hard on the ushers. Because I've been to a lot of NBA games as a fan. You know what I don't do? Sit in the seats that I'm supposed to sit in. So if I'm in that building and I paid $100, I'm sneaking down. I'm offering bribes. I'm changing my identity. I'm sneaking by people. I'm causing distractions. Like, those people are going to end up seeing the game. I know this for a fact, who's someone who's been going to NBA games for over 2 decades, Jalen. You know I'm right.
This is genius by the Golden State Warriors marketing and promotion. Because build it, they will come. Once you start coming to games and you're able to interact with other fans and watch the games on TV like you at a restaurant or a bar or at a sports bar or something like that, it's the same feeling, but being inside the arena, congregating with others, and you only got to pay $100
a month. So you're basically paying like $15 a game.
What they need to do is get a contract with Tinder.
No, here's what
turn this really into something.
I like this. I like this.
No doubt about it.
Here's what you do. You pay $100 to the monthly pass. You just bring $20 and give it to an usher. You're sitting wherever you want. Right now, it's time for news that matters. Tim and Jalen have some very important information. Samsung is at the forefront of television technology. They build like the screen that curves and all of that. Now they have this. You can do away with your remote control because without implanting a chip inside your brain, the television will know what you're thinking, know what channel you need to see, know whether to turn the volume up and down. You can control the television with your mind. Tim Kirchin, are you all in on controlling the TV with your mind?
Yeah, I'm sure it's a great idea. I'm just not sure my mind is the one to be using here. I have a rather myopic look at the world. There are only a few things that I like in the world. I mean, I'm afraid they would tap into my brain during the baseball season, and all it would tell them is, where's the Reds-Pirates game? And in the off-season, all I would be thinking about is, where's there a basketball game on TV? Because it's pretty clear with my pathetic little life that all I really care about are baseball and basketball. I don't watch movies very often. I'm not big on TV anymore. I used to be when I was a kid. So, yeah, I think you could read my mind, but it would be about as easy a mind as there is to read. Baseball or basketball games, that's about it for me.
If we could read your mind, would I know if you were lying about that tie?
Of course, I'm not lying about the tie, and it's a really short tie, too. If you saw it up close and you saw me put it on, you would see that it's really short on me. If you put it on a 6'8" guy, it's going to look like a bow tie. So there's no chance that I stole that tie from Jalen Rose. Why would I do that?
Do you really shop at Nordstrom for kids? Is that what I take?
There is no such thing. I was just trying to make fun of myself.
We really appreciate that, and I want to apologize on behalf of my co-host for twice now accusing you of being a thief on national television. You're always welcome to come back, especially if you have any counter accusations against Mr. Rose.
Well, thank you, fellas. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Coming up after this on JALEN JACOBY, we'll continue to give the people what they want. Explain the plot to The Matrix.
So really it was about your ability to transform.
We're good friends. We spend a lot of time together. Every time I've seen a movie with you, you have done what?
Order popcorn.
Fallen asleep. Immediately. I'm starting to think that you have never seen a movie in your entire life. I'm starting to think that you've never seen a movie from start to finish in your entire life.
This past
you
weekend,
cannot explain the plot to any film.
This weekend, I just saw The Accountant with Ben Affleck.
With who?
Ben Affleck.
Welcome back to JALEN and JACOBY. Jalen Rose, it is 2018. We work at ESPN, so we have to talk about the New York Football Giants. They actually won a game, a Monday Night Football matchup against two powerhouses, the Giants and the 49ers. Eli looked pretty good. Look at him bouncing around the pocket, finding Odell Beckham in the end zone. Beckham had 2 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley looked good. Look at this pass. They ran the same play twice in a row. I saw that one. Jalen, is there a little silver lining on the dark cloud that is the Giants season?
The silver lining is the person that Eli is shaking his hand, nobody knows who it is.
Nick Mullins.
Because the San Francisco 49ers are not a good football team.
No, they're not.
I felt bad for my brother Richard Sherman having to play with this team that's basically vying for a top pick. The Giants are a talented group offensively, and they're a perfect example of trying to build your squad through the skill players isn't probably the smartest way. Look at their division. If you were going to talk about who has the most talent, just sheer talent.
No question.
You would say the Giants have more than Philly, Washington, and Dallas.
Maybe combined.
But why the last couple of seasons have all of those teams been better than them?
Because Eli Manning's not that good. The line is not that good.
The substance, the lines, correct. And so for that, I'm not surprised clearly that Odell caught 2 TDs. Saquon Barkley is terrific. Sterling Shepard caught the game-winning touchdown. But we know what's going to happen, right? You know what's going to happen, right? Can I just break some news? You know what's going to happen.
Oh, you're going to break some news right now?
You know what's going to happen.
You're going to break some news? What's going to happen?
They're going to bench Eli.
For the guy that ran over the cop.
They're going to bench Eli.
For the guy that ran over the cop.
They just didn't want to do it because that guy had just gotten in trouble.
Yeah.
Now, for those that haven't been paying attention, for national media consumption, he's been in trouble with the law a couple of times. For some reason, we just don't talk about it. So I think later in this year, as soon as they dream of Eli struggling, like he might stumble coming out of the tunnel, they're going to bench him. We know it's going to happen. This is last year's their starting quarterback.
Is this Eli's last year in the National Football League?
No. He's a Manning. He can play as long as he wants.
So you think he's going to play in a different uniform next year?
Yes, if he wants to play.
Huh. Well, I know a team that needs a quarterback. The Buffalo Bills. It's the end of an era in Buffalo, Jalen Rose. It's a sad day. It's the end of an era. Nathan Peterman has been released by the Buffalo Bills. It's just so sad. And I can't lie. I really enjoyed the phenomenon that was watching Nathan Peterman play football because he was so bad it was good, kind of like one of those movies. Like, he had so many interceptions that it made it fun to watch. Are you surprised it took this long for the Bills to release Nathan Peterman?
I am surprised. We never root for people to lose their job, but just for football reasons, he's shown that he wasn't an NFL quarterback.
No, 1 touchdown and 7 interceptions.
Since the team decided not to play Tyrod Taylor late last year because they didn't want to pay him and didn't want him to get injured on their time, the Buffalo Bills have had the worst quarterback play I remember in my lifetime by multiple people.
They brought back Matt Barkley, who was not in the league. They brought back Derek Anderson, who was not in the league. They're just looking at who was good in 2014 and being like, anyone got their agent's number? I'll slide in their DMs.
What does it say about the people who are making decisions for their team that Matt Barkley could show up, have a good game, they win, and then decide to move on from Peterman? That's what it took?
Yeah, Matt Barkley had like a decent game against the Jets, mind you, and it's like, oh, we're good with Peterman. We don't need him anymore. It's fascinating. I love the quarterbacks.
Peterman will not get another job.
This team was in the playoffs last year, Jalen. They were in the playoffs last year in Jacksonville. It's shocking what happens year to year in this league. Well, just like Matt Barkley, someone else who was not in the league a week ago is back in the league. A gentleman by the name of Brandon Marshall. You remember Brandon Marshall? I'm not talking about the linebacker, talking about the receiver. He has taken up the spot that was sadly vacated by Dez Bryant on the Saints. Can Drew Brees and this offense make anybody work at wide receiver?
Yes, and if I played in the league, I want to be a part of the Saints team. Like, they're living their best lives. I love Ingram and Kamara. They could be a stand-up act together. Drew Brees, as you mentioned. And how about this? This is the more important thing. And Thomas is a beast at receiver. Oh, my goodness. The way they embraced Dez Bryant, and he didn't even play a game.
I know.
Once Brandon Marshall play a game, he like, this family forever.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, this family
Dez
forever.
Bryant went to one practice, and after every touchdown, they're throwing up the X for him. That really made me happy, too. I'm sure Dez Bryant was at home somewhere watching the game. Just a little tear came to his eye.
But you know what else it does? It has you soul-searching in a lot of ways because the Dallas Cowboys were playing football for almost 2 months, and none of their players until Jalen Smith did were throwing up the X.
No.
He played his entire career with them.
It's a great point, Mr. Rose. Right now, it's time for News That Matters. Jalen Rose, you were recently married, right?
Yes.
This gentleman right here is also recently married. His name is Akiko Kondo, and he married a hologram. That's a hologram right there.
No.
He married a hologram. And it's a hologram of a 16-year-old virtual reality singer named Hatsune Miku. So not only did he marry a hologram, he married a hologram of a 16-year-old virtual reality singer. And Jalen, he had a ceremony. 40 people showed up to this wedding. He spent almost $18,000 on the ceremony to get married to a hologram. His mom did not show up. I did the research. Jalen Rose, what do you think about this man marrying a hologram?
I'm trying to think of what's worse. Him marrying a hologram or 40 people showing up to watch it.
I thought that too. That seems like 39 people too many. Also, do you know what's the worst thing about this whole thing? Dog, fine. You're going to marry a hologram. That's okay. Don't marry a hologram of a 16-year-old. It's like he was sitting around being like, what could possibly be creepier than marrying a hologram? Marrying a hologram of a 16-year-old. Oh, I got it.
And paid $17,500.
He must have a lot of money. He must have a lot of money because the hologram. Because you know what wasn't happening? It wasn't like the hologram was like, I need more flowers. I need this to be beautiful. I need lobster.
What does it take to be quantified as somebody that's just a pedophile? That's what this is.
It seems like that. If you could marry a hologram of anybody on the planet. Are you going to marry a hologram of Giselle Bundchen or marry a hologram of Halle Berry? No, I'm going to marry a hologram of a 16-year-old virtual reality singer.
Somebody need to introduce him to something. YouTube.
When we come back, we'll probably be canceled. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Carmelo. Melo. Mr. Anthony.
Lala's husband.
Hall of Famer. Perennial All-Star.
Banana boat brother. But he smartly didn't get on.
He didn't get on the boat.
Vet move.
He didn't get on the boat.
That was a vet move.
Well, he's looking for a boat now. The latest is that his reps are exploring possible landing spots for Carmelo Anthony. Certainly seems like his days in Houston are over. Kevin Pelton, our colleague, wrote a column, and it said he was going to explore some potential landing spots for Carmelo, and really, it was just basically the 76ers. Jalen, a lot of questions. Before we get to what's going to happen next, what's happening now with Carmelo? What's he emotionally dealing with?
So this is always tough because usually as athletes, unlike most professions, can't do it forever clearly, but yet you're still very young and hope to live a long life after your career. He's in his 30s.
He's like 36, and people are telling him you can't do your job anymore.
Correct.
I'm 36.
Like if you're an accountant or something, you could do these jobs forever.
Of course.
As long as you can wake up, breathe, and have your motor skills. So what ends up happening is as you get older, you don't get a chance to pick the ending. Only a couple of great players can do the Kobe Bryant, score 60 after the team just been in the lottery 5 years. Or do the Peyton Manning, we got a great defense, I'm managing the game, win the Super Bowl, walk off into the sunset.
Or do the Barry Sanders, like, my team's not good enough, I'm a legend, I'm just going to get out of here.
Correct. Usually the game ends, usually the game decides when it's over.
Has the game decided it's over for Carmelo?
Carmelo is not done physically. He can still contribute to a box score. But what you have to do is adjust mentally and emotionally to reinventing yourself. And that's a humbling process.
Sure.
You have to take the guy in the mirror and say, wherever you used to be in Denver and or New York and or somewhat in OKC, you can't laugh and joke when people say about you coming off the bench anymore.
34, right? Which is not that old. You got Vince Carter in the league, 41. You know, Dirk in the league, 41. But there's not too many players left from his draft class. You got Dwayne Wade in the way out, and LeBron James is obviously just LeBron James. So what is he dealing with in Houston? Like, why did this go south? I really thought this was going to work out. I thought he was going to be on this team all year long into the playoffs.
It was a no-win situation as you
Was it, though?
Look at it in hindsight. Here's why. Because they were going to be worse record-wise. They weren't going to have the best record in the league.
Last year.
They definitely were going to be worse defensively.
Yes.
And if he doesn't put up numbers and shoot efficiently in the games where, unfortunately, Chris Paul got suspended, anticipate that happening.
He had nothing to do with that.
James Harden got hurt.
Carmelo had nothing to do with that.
But he was in uniform. And so now when you go to play at OKC and you're 1 for 11 against your former squad, you're in the game, and then after the game, you're soul searching in your locker. You're like,
it's got to hurt.
Is this where how far I've fallen? That moment is when you slap yourself in the face like the Three Stooges and have to decide, am I going to be a player that's happy with any role that I'm given? Or have I had enough because he's a Hall of Famer? I think he still wants to play basketball.
Can this have a humbling effect on him, how it went wrong in Houston? And can he then look in the mirror, say he gets signed with the Sixers or wherever, can he then accept a lesser role and change his spot on the roster?
You look at any player that's played over 10 years. At some point late in their career, I always deem these the lost tape years. Every player has lost tape years. A lot of young fans don't realize Michael Jordan actually played for the Wizards.
Sure.
People aren't thinking about the fact the last couple of years, Dwayne Wade was in Chicago, Cleveland, then back in Miami. Like, it happens as you start to get older. Every player's not like Dirk that can play his entire career for one team. It just doesn't work that way. And so psychologically is where the change has to happen, number one. But number two, you're going to have other contending teams saying, if it didn't work in Houston and they have one goal, is it going to work with us?
Yeah. How's that going to translate?
It didn't work in OKC where they have great stars. how's it going to work with us?
Well, let's get to DeMar DeRozan's thoughts on being traded. Here's what he had to say about being traded from the Raptors to the Spurs. If you remember, he affected him a lot. He said, it just caught me off guard. I sat in Jack in the Box parking lot for like 2 hours just trying to process it all. Like, just trying to process the whole thing, and it just tripped me out. Jalen Rose, we could focus on how hard it is to get traded, but I want to focus on who sits in a Jack in the Box parking lot for 2 hours? Like, no, you're sitting in the Jack in the Box parking lot for 2 full hours? Just sitting there contemplating life? There is only one reason that you have to sit in the Jack in the Box parking lot for 2 hours. What is that, Mr. Rose?
The line was too long?
It's a failed test. That's all. No one's been in the Jack in the parking lot for 2 hours without some additional being involved. That's why he was tripping out in the Jack in the Box parking lot. I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank Tim Kirchin for being on. I want to apologize to Tim Kirchin for being accused of being a tight thief. We'll be back tomorrow.
Far too kind.